Scout hasn't got a single weapon since the Love and War update, which was 7 years ago. So I personally think Scout needs some new weapons. So here are just some that I've come up with myself. Some new Scout weapon concepts. First up is the Massachusetts Mare's Leg. And this is basically like a Scout shotgun. So it's like if you got the scatter gun and the shotgun, and you just put them together. So the stats on it are as follows: 20% more accurate, minus 10% less damage, and then these two stats, 20% or 25% more damage against enemies with more than blah blah. So basically, it's like you can kill enemies which have more health quicker, and also, the movement speed is pretty. Well, the less movement speed is bad, obviously, but the 20% damage resistance against bullets. Basically, you could also use this as a getaway. Let's say you're being gunned down by like a heavy, and you can just like actually get away without dying. And then you could also probably use this as like a sniper counter, because Scout doesn't really have that many good counters from against snipers, except from move around very quickly, which obviously that doesn't allow you to do because of the less movement speed. So yeah, that's probably the first weapon up. Next up is the Circuit Breaker, which this is meant to be an engineer counter, because Scout doesn't have any of them. So basically, scatter gun, but it can sap. Stats are as follows. Obviously, 40% damage less against players because it needs a significant burst. Disables buildings for 1 sec. Doesn't stack. So, but obviously, a hidden downside is that, if you don't kill the engineer, he's just going to build another building. So you got to actually play this correctly, so you don't, die horribly. Also, don't mind the chat drama that's going on in these clips. So yeah, next one, we're probably going to move on to the Scout secondaries. Next up is the hand cannon. So pretty cool weapon. Is a pistol, secondary for Scout. It's basically if you got a sniper rifle and a pistol and just put them together. The stats, pretty simple explanatory stats. It only gets one shot on its clip, but it does 450 damage, which basically can one-shot light classes, which makes sense because it's probably going to be really hard to hit this thing. You could probably use it as an equivalent to the scattergun, but it's also harder because there's less, there's less in the clip. So, if you miss, you're basically screwed. So yeah, next up is the De-Dehyrdrator. This is like a bonk in the way that it works, but obviously it has different stats. So basically, he goes really goddamn fast. Like, really, really goddamn fast. Like, 100%, plus 100% movement speed, but also plus 50% damage vulnerability. So if you get shot with this thing, you're basically just dead. It's like you're just gone completely, just gone. Anyway, I think that's gonna be the last of the secondaries. So we're gonna move on to the Scout melees, or bats as I would call them, because that's basically all that Scout has. Next one is the Iceman. It's basically like a Sandman, but Sandman, obviously Sandman, but cooler. It makes sense, Sandman, but a bit colder, a bit like it's like a winter version, but not reskin. Obviously makes the victim take knockback from all bullets, but it costs 10% movement speed. So next up is the pinch hitter, right? And it's another bat. Obviously, Scout becomes a speeding bullet, but fragile bullet bat version. This is from the same set as the De-Dehyrdrator earlier. So stats, plus 25% movement speed, plus 10% damage vulnerability when active. So it's like, oh, look at me, I'm going to run away. It's like an escape plan, but for Scout. And it also, I would argue that it's not as bad as an escape plan, because of, at least you don't get mini crit every time with the escape plan, because that's pretty bad. So, yeah, this was the video, right? Finally, it's the end. you know? So I just want to say a few things, you know, maybe like, subscribe, do all that jizz, you know. I don't know if this gets a good reception, which, you know, I really expect it won't. No offense. Then I'll probably make a second one, but probably not on Scout. Definitely not on Scout. Why would I just make 2 Scout videos? I'm not really that stupid. So anyway, it's been good. I will bye. I don't know, just bye.